element of truth in that.
Speaking of crystal balls, what do you feel about long-term investment in the stock market period of 1 to 2 years? And Warren Buffett seems to be our favorite because he's been quoted again. Nobody is going to tell you whether the stock market is going to go up or down. What we can safely say, and people will generally, I believe, agree, that some of the deals out there in the market are phenomenal. There's some very good companies going for a very good price. And I will let anybody else on the panel jump in, but from my analysis of one company, for example, MR, at 5.4, is that not a fantastic buy for a company that is cash rich, that is one of the first, in fact the first, to have realized there is a saturation in this market and went out? Where was that, 3 years ago? They started going regionally. So there are opportunities in the stock market. You have to pick them. But you know, over a period of 1 to 2 years, with the position of where the stock market is at the moment, I would go to the extent to say it would be very difficult to foresee somebody losing. Mukhtar, yeah? Want to add anything?
No, that's a fair answer. Okay.
I was trying to pass the difficult ones to him, and he's throwing them back to me now. What will be the effect of reduced petroleum prices on the global economy, particularly the Gulf states? I will say to you that on average, the Gulf states perhaps budget their oil in the last year at $50, and before that at even less, and it has been at around 100 plus, 150. So there is a huge amount of surplus sitting, and this is why you see, even in this day and age, when nobody wants to touch any financial institution, a sovereign fund or sovereign funds are able to go in and pick up a bank like Barclays, and you saw that in the newspaper today. So that tells you the depth and the strength of some of these accumulated wealth. Now going forward, Mukhtar Bhai.
Yeah. I mean, two statistics. Forget about where the oil price is. Just record the fact in your mind that in the GCC, there are $2.2 trillion worth of capital projects that are committed. These are not going to be withdrawn because of oil price falls. These are going to be funded largely from oil monies that have already been received. Put it in a different context. In the last 4 years, the GCC countries accumulated more proceeds from oil revenues than they did from the last 10. Okay? So there is a capital buffer that's available. And I think the earlier point on sovereign wealth funds is correct. Irrespective of where the oil price is, some of the world's most important sovereign wealth funds lie in the GCC. The one in Abu Dhabi, Qatar more recently, Kuwait historically. These are all funds that have significant capital reserves, so they will be able to acquire assets which they deem to be strategic.
There's a question about right time to buy, so I'll give it to Prasanj.
The question is it the right time to buy shares and properties? As I said in my proceedings, yes, this is the right time to buy shares and properties, but one should safely, one should safely do his own due diligence and find out what the properties, like Mahmoud had said, that there are certain things which we should evaluate and then make a decision. There is the second question about Dubai Silicon Oasis. I have a personal experience on the Dubai Silicon Oasis. They have come up with some projects. I believe the company's name is Go Wealthy. They have tied up with some developers And properties like Axis residencies are available at 10% down payment, 5% on booking, 5% after 3 months, and thereafter 1% per month for 90 months. So that's very easy for those who want to invest or rent to own sort of scheme. There are plenty of schemes available in the Silicon Oasis area.
The question about 725.
What's your advice for an investment in commercial unit to sell or rent it away, which is fully paid at 2006 price at 725 per square feet? Please advise.
The question that comes about is somebody has purchased a commercial unit at 725. It's fully paid, and wants to know whether he should sell or rent. The question is, do you need your money in yearly installments or do you need your money in one go? It really depends on you. I can't answer the question for you because it will depend on your personal circumstances. Do you plan to use the money somewhere else to work it a little harder? Do you want to cash out your profit? Do you want to have a recurring income, tax-free, if you brought the money out from another part of the world? I really can't advise you until I have a better understanding of your personal financial plans, and then. But if you're getting a customer who, okay, actually, you know what I'm going to say? It really does depend on you. Thank you very much.
We have a couple of questions on construction, I believe, and I'll give it to Hasnain to deal with it.
I guess this is quite an easy question here. What's going to happen to the construction industry? I think there are quite a lot of our brothers who are involved somewhere or the other in the construction industry. Here we have a cycle which I think most of us are aware. There is a developer, there is a user or the investor, there is a bank, and the last one is the construction. Now, all these people were playing with their own risk. In the past, what was happening was the construction companies were becoming very difficult because they had their own goals to meet. They knew this was the best time to make money. The investors, it was the same story. The developers were the same stories. And of course, the banks were the same ones. Now, at this stage, which used to be a very vibrant cycle, today has become a vicious cycle. And this particular cycle is broken from different levels. The banks are not funding the projects. I'm not saying all the projects, but a private developer's project are becoming difficult to get the funding. The investors are not able to pay the developer the next 10% or the next 20%. So what happens to the construction industry? So if you're related with the small developers, the chances are you'll have to bite your fingers. But if you're related with the major developers, then again the payments are going to be difficult to get it, which we have seen in the past also. If you're dealing with people like the master developers, the payments are very, very difficult to get from them. So I guess you're in a limbo situation being in a construction industry. Number one is the steel, which the component of steel which has shot down from 6,000 dirhams to today, I think 2,000 or 2,500 dirhams. And we've got a lot of banks who have funded those steel. And these banks are also facing problem because people are not releasing the documents. So there's a spiral effect everywhere. So I think, to be honest,